recently I've been encountering death quite a lot. You know, like just coming to terms with my immortality.
Yeah, but the thing is,
Immortality.
yeah, and if you think about it too hard, you'll drive yourself insane. So.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Disco Shaman TV. Today I got a very special guest. His name is Belowsky. He is a spoken word artist and a writer. He's accomplished beautiful feats like having his poetry actually embedded inside Virgin Airlines. And he does a great Donald Duck impression. Oh, what's going on, man?
I'm very well.
Welcome to the show.
Very, very well. Very well indeed.
That's my Donald Duck.
Have you ever scared someone doing that?
When I was a kid, maybe.
Yeah.
I haven't done that for years. That's the first time I've done that Donald Duck impression in about as long as I can remember. Never really scared anybody.
How did you come across that?
You know why? Because Donald Duck was kind of popular, and like my uncle used to do it, and then I wondered how he did that, and then I used to practice. And
how are you actually doing it?
It's like you just it's almost from it's almost, you know, it's almost like taking a tickle in the back of your throat, scratching it.
And then you actually like voicing out words.
Yeah.
That's pretty creepy, dude.
I've not done that in 100. That's the first time I've done that in a million years.
That's so good.
That's so funny.
Thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no, it's good to be here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, looking forward to your questions and, yeah.
Well, let's bump into the first question.
Yeah.
Out of the magical mystery book of questions.
That's amazing.
I'm going to go straight into it and straight deep.
Okay.
Have you ever had any psychic experiences?
Psychic?
Psychic or any mystical experiences?
Yeah. I don't know if you're psychic or mystical. I was once driving along, going from Manchester to Leeds with my cousin in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And it was about 2 a.m. and a flying saucer flew in front of our car and out. And we went both at the same time. We went, what the fuck is that? Anyway, the next morning on the radio, there was many sightings of this flying saucers across the English Pennines that day. So that is maybe something extraterrestrial. Is it psychic? I think maybe you can put them on the same level. Maybe?
Yeah. So wait, you actually physically saw?
Yeah. It flashed straight in front of our window. It was almost like a disc, and it shot off, and
up,
and then out and up, and you want to know what? It was just moving faster than you could ever witness anything moving. You know, it was so fast.
And it went right in front of your window.
Yeah, and we both said at the same, what the fuck? And it was like, it came straight across so low and cut up, almost like if you were to throw a disc onto the water, you know, like that, I mean, a stone or a frisbee.
Did you feel anything?
No. But it was green.
It was green?
Yeah.
Was
glowing green.
Glowing green.
Yeah.
And you felt nothing? You just saw it, shot?
Yeah. Just at the speed of light. Just.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
What do you think it was?
Flying saucer or some kind of extraterrestrial. Yeah, I think it was probably a UFO. Obviously, it's UFO because it was unidentified and no one else and so many other people reported it on the radio the next day. Yeah. When I woke up, turned the radio on, I was hearing all these reports of this sighting, and I'll never forget. I was just like, wow.
That's wild.
Yeah, it was wild.
I always felt like, you know, why don't the aliens just show themselves to us? Like, why don't they just actually...
I know, I've always said that too. Why don't they just come out and say, look, we're here. How are you? Let's go out for coffee. I don't believe in all these sightings. Why isn't the one that's just popping, yeah, I'm here, you know, it doesn't happen. It makes no sense to me.
Yeah. There's also another thought I had. I was like, what if they're actually already here and they're right in front of us, but we've blocked our awareness and our perception from that reality?
It's almost like the Matrix.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a parallel universe to the one we're in.
Yeah.
That's possible. Why are we the only we're matter against antimatter, so we can see what we can see, but we can't see what we can't see. It's like if you've got a book, and I said to you, when I shut that book, all the words disappear. And when you open it, the words come. But so you can never ever tell me that there's words in the book when it's shut.
Yeah, they did experiment.
They could use X-rays and things, I guess.
Yeah. Have you heard of Schrodinger's cat?
Is that what we're talking about?
Yeah. So it's that theory where if you have the cat in the box, is the cat there when you're not looking at it, or is the cat always just actually there?
Yeah, right.
So like, have you experienced that in your life? Sometimes like you go into like a certain experience and like, fuck, this wasn't here before.
Yeah.
This business wasn't here. This person wasn't here, or this
Yeah.
situation wasn't here.
You know what's really interesting? If you were to take a place that you go to, and if you were to come back 500 years from now, what that spot, or 1,000 years from, if where we're sitting now, we came back here in 1,000 years, or 2,000 years, or 10,000 years from now, we came back to this exact spot.
Yeah.
What would be here? It wouldn't be this. It wouldn't be this. And not only wouldn't it be this, the entire city in 10,000 years might not even be here. And I'm not saying if there was not a war or anything, I'm just saying naturally it would metamorphosize itself. It would change from where we are, what we are, to 10,000 years from now, a billion years from now. It's just, it's incomprehensible. What about 3 billion years from now? What will be here? Where we're sitting in 3 billion years? You can't even comprehend 3 billion years. 3 billion years, we're here for what? 10 minutes? You know what I mean? It's kind of bizarre, man.
It's wild, bro.
Yeah, if you do anything, you can stretch your imagination to a point where you can't comprehend it. It's incomprehensible.
Do you think there's a part of you that can comprehend it? There's a part of you that's connected to the source?
No, I think it's incomprehensible. You can't say how big is the universe and how far can it stretch. You just can't even imagine. If you go to the black hole and you go through the black hole and you keep traveling, you can't, and then you go from one universe to the next universe, to the next universe.
And it's infinite.
And it's infinite.
Infinite universes.
Infinite universes. It's almost like the internet without a dead end. You know how like they say when you're online, everything should link to something else? That's basically how the universe will probably be. One, and then you just keep moving through universes,
Yeah.
And where there's billions of forms of life forms, they look like, they won't look like us.
I find it so interesting.
It's
Imagine
mind-blowing.
like somewhere out there's a different form of life.
Sure.
And they have a different organization of society and civilization.
Sure, but like you said, yeah.
Culture. Like I'm always trying to imagine like how would their music be? Alien music. How would alien food be? Because the way that we've evolved is completely different to the way that they evolved.
Of course.
So just it again comes back to that. You can't comprehend it. Like if I'm trying to comprehend Indian food, yeah, I can understand the culture, turmeric, spices, but when I'm trying to comprehend a completely alien world with a completely different set of laws.
I mean, if you think about the human being, right? In many ways, it's a very primitive tool. It's very, the human being is a very. I wouldn't have designed it this way.
What would you have done different?
Well, I wouldn't have the body parts that would have been so affected by things. I don't like talking about diseases and illnesses and what can go wrong very quickly, and because it's not a nice thought. It's not a happy thought. But if you think about it, there could have been a better. It could have been designed better. We do go, oh look, the miracle of life. There's a baby in the bubble. you know, being formed. You can see, like, you know, there's a baby in the womb. Look at it, the baby's being staring down, he's growing, and oh, look, he's got hands now. And yet, oh God, what a miracle! Yeah, it's a miracle because we see it as a miracle. You know, the miracle of life, of being born. But it's a very primitive thing. I would have designed it a lot better, you know. I would have had parts that, you know, that didn't cause so much grief, maybe.
Like what? Give me an example.
I don't know. Any body part. Any body part, you know. Just it's all fucking it's too vulnerable. It's too vulnerable to viruses, to disease, you know. The human being is so vulnerable. It's not that well invented, you know. It's not that well invented. And then everybody's mind is different in terms of, you know, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing that everybody's mind is different. We can't all be splitting the atom, you know. How come one guy can split the atom and another guy can't tie his shoes up? You know what I mean? It's like...
But don't you think, like, you know, as the anatomically modern human, it's been around 200,000 years.
Yeah.
And in 200,000 years, there's been diseases, there's been planetary shifts, there's been wars and terror, but we're still standing. And even now, like, you look at the whole system.
It's absolutely, you're right. I always said that it's, I thought the word was, it's almost like it's so, I had the word and I've lost the word, but it's so,
resilient?
Resilient, exactly, that's the word I was looking for. In fact, I was talking to a friend the other day, I go, you know, the world's so resilient, stock market is so resilient. It always comes back, it always survives. When it's at its bleakest and it drops 1,000 points and everyone goes, oh, that's it. Next minute, it's all coming back. You know, we survive wars, you know, like World War I, World War II, World War III, all the individual wars.
Right,
with,
yeah.
With polio and the plagues and the Black Plague and you know, AIDS and coronavirus. But the coronavirus, you know, TB, tuberculosis,
yeah,
and disease, Ebola is on the subcontinent. Everything's like, how will we survive all this? You know, now Russia versus Ukraine, you know, Hulk's country being, yet we always seem to survive it. Presidents get assassinated, Kennedy, peacemakers, John Lennon, Martin Luther King, Malcolm X.
There's always something going on.
Even last week, the Japanese president was go, but Japan will survive next week, and there will be people still going out for sushi. Yeah. You know, it's almost like
I could do some sushi.
Yeah, right. But whatever we seem to be down on, we always seem to bounce back. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, that's what I mean. As in, like, there's always something going on. And from my perspective, more recently, I've been encountering death quite a lot. You know, like just coming to terms with my immortality.
Yeah, but the thing is, and if you think about it too hard, you'll drive yourself insane. So it's not worth. It's
for me. It's I'm actually very intrigued. I'm not. It doesn't make me insane. It excites me, the fact that this is the most natural thing that's going to happen to me.
Yeah, it's going to happen to us all.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every person on this planet has one thing in common.
They all die.
They're all going to die. So it's like, why the fuck are we fearing this thing so much? I think what the problem is that our culture doesn't recognize nor understand what happens after death.
Yeah.
It's a big enigma. It's blurred. It's like, oh, it's the great unknown.
Yeah.
But you know, you never know. Life could begin after death.
Of course.
It could be a completely new layer of reality.
Of course.
And my personal experiences have allowed me to experience that already while alive. Like, and it's making me excited, not to die, not in a suicidal way. You know what I mean? Yeah. But it's just like, damn, man, like. This it keeps going on.
Because here's the thing, that, you know, you want to enjoy, I mean, yeah, you can go as deep as you want and things, but, you know, I still want to watch the ball game tomorrow. I still want to go to the movie next week. You know, I still want to drive my car fast down the road, you know. I still fancy a really good meal tonight. So, you know, it's kind of like, if you think about it too much, and if you accept the fact that there could be something, or there is something that beyond it, then it's a good thing that you think that. But you can take so much, it can take up too much thought time, and I have no control over it.
Yeah.
I don't believe I have any control about. And yet some people work to have control over it. You know, mediums and magicians and
ancient Egyptians
and religions.
Yeah, they dedicated
dedicate the whole the religion.
culture.
You know, the religions that take the whole time in this lifetime trying to understand what's going to happen. So but I'm saying, well, it's going to happen anyway. So instead of philosophizing on it, just go out and enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
You know, that's me. I'm a happy-go-lucky kind of guy.
Yeah. The way that I think of it, it's not like as in like doom and gloom, but rather me understanding death gives more context to my life now. So like when I'm eating a meal or when I'm spending time with my daughter or having this podcast with you, I'm like, man, you know what? I might not be alive in a week or so. So connect. Give the most I can in this situation. Try to just immerse yourself in this simulation, this hologram, whatever it is, so much because you cherish it. Because you're never gonna get a chance again, or maybe you will. I don't know.
Who the hell knows?
That brings me to question number 2.
Oh, question 2.
So, you're ready to leave this planet.
Okay.
It's your time to go.
Yeah.
You look back at your life.
Yeah.
How old are you now?
It's a secret.
Okay, a secret. So, you're 115.
Yeah, okay, that. I'm 115.
You look back at your life.
Yeah.
Is there something that you wanted to achieve? And is there something that you want to leave behind?
Yeah.
What is it?
For me?
Yeah.
For me, there's a problem with it, okay? For instance, I've written some poems that that stick, right? I've done that. I was a Australian Poetry Slam champion. The West Australian Poetry Slam champion. I almost won it in Sydney. Virgin Airlines poet. I got my poems on Spotify.
How'd you get them on Virgin Airlines?
I did. I was in the Australian Poetry Slam final at the Opera House in Sydney, and then they approached me in the lobby afterwards.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I'd already thought about that years earlier. I manifested it? Yeah, I manifested it.
So you thought about you getting yourself on Virgin?
And I thought I used to always see my poems in the aeroplane seats, and it happened. Yeah, and if you read my book, because I got a book out called Stay Greasy Baby.
Stay Greasy Baby.
Stay Greasy Baby.
Where can they find it?
They can find it online, or you can get physical copies.
We'll put a link in the description.
Yeah, you can get physical copies of it. You can get it online. You can order it online on Amazon and all those things. Or there are some independent bookshops. In Beaufort Street Books has it in Perth, and independent bookshops. So you can come directly to me, and I can get you a physical copy. But in that book, at the end, I mentioned how I thought this was going to happen years before it happened. I always thought, wow, why couldn't my work be in these screens in the seats? And it happened, though it's like, so that was a manifestation of a thought. But, so back to the question being,
what do you want to leave behind?
When I'm writing books and movies and scripts, and the thing I want to say is, I've had success. I've got things on Spotify at the moment, on Creation, Oasis's label, it's Creation Baby, which is Alan McGee, Creation Records, right? I had my own show at the Standard Hotel on Sunset Boulevard in the lobby. I've done so much in terms of in my art life, and then you want to go to the next level, and then you say, well, then what's the next level after that? And then some people, they win an Oscar, and they got the Oscar, and they've just got the biggest movie out in the world, and they got the Oscar, and they go, well, what's next? And I started to realize my legacy is to leave my work, but you're never satisfied, because you never know if you're at the highest level you'll ever be at. So what I'm thinking is you've got to enjoy what you've got because this could be the top of where you're going to be, but no one seems to be satisfied with a human being, with where we are. Everybody's reaching for that next level. And that's what worries me, is what do you want to leave? Maybe I've already left it. Maybe it's there already.
And you're not recognizing it yourself.
You're not recognizing it yourself. It's a great achievement that you've written all these poems and they're there for as long as you want them to be there. You know, somebody can come back in 150 years and they can see one of my poems and go, you know, did you ever step out your door in the morning? Did you ever wish you'd stepped out into another city or another street? To me, it's back to 76, back to mad, crazy Jerusalem. I'm 17 again. I've got long hair. I'm a free spirit. But I feel like I could walk through the Western Wall, hanging out Damascus Gate, bumping into friends from this country, from that country, sitting in Jerusalem coffee shops, eating giant chocolate eclairs. They were so big, and cappuccino drinking. We, the children free, for our earlier generation, dreamt it, but they could have never imagined it through the dark days of the 1940s with the fucking Nazis knocking at the door. But this isn't 1940 or 45, this is 1976, the disco years, as you hit the road to who knows where, and you crash by the Dead Sea and look up at those stars older than Jerusalem, and she is old, walking the Golan. The lights of Syria shine like a movie backdrop in the background, and from there, for 1 second in time, you feel like you could turn on the entire world. And then the poem goes on about Jerusalem.
Did you just freestyle?
No, I wrote that. But no, I wrote that. So what I'm saying is I wrote that poem as I stand, I turn to face the east, I turn to face the west, I turn to face, one of the poems is, and as I stand in my worn out Jack Purcell sneakers and hope in the back pocket of my worn out 501 Levi's, I turn to face the east, I turn to face the west, I turn to face Damascus, I turn to face Cairo, I turn to face Amman, I turn to face the rabbis, I turn to face the priests, I turn to face the Druze, I turn to face the Jews, I turn to face the Muslims, I turn to face the Christians, and finally I turn to face the cutest chick from Memphis, Tennessee. And we see it, and the whole thing is,
what's your point though?
The point is that I read a really strong poem that people love that poem, like they will love Howl by Allen Ginsberg. People go, that's my Howl. You know, you wrote Jerusalem. I wrote this poem, but I wrote this poem Jerusalem, and I should be satisfied with writing that poem Jerusalem and saying, wow, I'm going to leave, that poem's there for as long as it needs to be there.
That's it, you're done. Like it's.
So why aren't I content? Why aren't you content to say that, you know, it's like the Beatles, John Lennon wrote Imagine, or...
Why is it?
I don't know. Why? What I'm saying is, how far do you want to go? How do you know you're not there already? And why aren't you content with what you've done?
This is something that I encounter quite a lot with my relationship coaching clients. And my question is to you, have you ever sat down and looked at all the things that you've done? You'd be like, fuck, giving yourself a pat on the back, you'd be like, I've done it.
Yeah, and you know what? And I want to, and you think you want to, and you think, damn, but I didn't make an Oscar-winning movie, or I've not done this and I've not done that.
It's an illusion, though.
It's an illusion.
You're going to get there, and then you're going to create a bigger goal for yourself.
But as soon as you get the Oscar for Best Picture, then what?
It's going to be another goal.
Yeah,
so like, I want to own my movie company.
Yeah, and then you get the movie company, and then you've got to own 2 movie companies or whatever. Just you never know. It's never enough. And so...
You know what's crazy, though?
It's a crazy thing, but
You recognize this.
I recognize it.
You recognize this right now.
Yeah.
Which puts you on a platform where it's like, holy shit, maybe what I'm looking for is not out there.
Yeah.
It's in here.
Yeah. Well, I say to some friends, you know, that have gone, like, they've got a big show, or they've got a big, their film's coming out, they've got a big show, a big comedy show, or they're headlining somewhere. And I say, just remember it and enjoy it, because this might be as high as you go. This may be it. Nice. So enjoy this moment. Enjoy walking on stage at the Opera House. Enjoy going on stage at the small comedy venue. Enjoy making your movie. Enjoy your podcast. Enjoy your TV show, because you never know. That might be as high as you're going to go. But that doesn't mean you're not at the top. You are at the moment at the top of your game. you know? And it doesn't matter who you are, what you do. I'm talking about the arts. What about the guy that goes out and is a car salesman? He sold 5 cars. Does he have to sell 6 or 7 tomorrow? Shouldn't he be content? I sold 5 cars today, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like, I think the human being is kind of, seems to, it's greed. There's a lot of greed involved.
Fundamentally, what I've come to
Greed.
understand, the core of this is not feeling enough.
Yeah.
That somehow, maybe in your childhood or maybe in your upbringing, you were made to feel that you're not enough. And now you seek to fulfill that by being enough in the outer world. It's like gaining external validation that, oh, fuck, you achieved that, you created this. But it's like, yeah, it's temporarily you like the validation, but after a while you're like, I didn't really care about your validation. I didn't really care about all of this praise. It's like, it's literally a matrix. It's an illusion.
It is an illusion.
So that's very powerful, man. That wisdom that you're leaving behind for the young generation, for the up and coming elder generation also is.
It's almost like you want to make that speech.
You can make that into a poem.
I could make that into a poem.
That would hit so hard.
So hard.
So hard.
So hard. What are you searching for? Where are you going? You've already made your motion picture. You've already done this. You've already done that.
Yeah.
You've already done the done.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah, maybe I put it down. See, that's what you call freestyle as well. Now we're freestyling.
Hell yeah.
You know?
Do you want a beat?
Yeah, I'll take the beat. You want the beat? So where you're going, what you're doing, where you're from, whether you're ever going to get there. You made your movie, you wrote your book, you did your record. You know what I mean? You wrote your jokes, you sold your cars, you made your meals, but where you're going, are you there already? You don't know, you don't know, you don't know. How do you know? How do you know? Where are we going? What are we doing?
Not bad. So that brings us to question number 3.
Number 3, I'm interested.
Manifestation.
Huge.
What's going on? What's your experiences?
Huge.
And what does it mean? Like if you're potentially creating your life with your thoughts,
Yeah.
the implications of this is fundamentally huge.
Huge.
Tell me about it. What is it? What's going on?
Everything.
Okay.
Everything that
Everything.
And more now than ever.
Okay.
Manifestation is huge in my life right now. Everything I'm manifesting is coming true. I told you earlier today about I had this idea of years ago. I loved the little bastard James Dean car, and it's silver, low. Right, I'd seen replicas of it in Malibu, in California, in this shop once in Malibu, and it had like 4 of them in Malibu. You could actually order replicas, they're very expensive. And I always had a picture, I have that poster of James Dean's the last time he put petrol in his tank, and he stopped in that service station, the famous shot of him standing by his Porsche. And I have that in my office at I have an office in my apartment, my little office, and on the wall I got that poster. It's wood, but it's not just a floppy poster, but it's solid. I hanged it, but I've had it before that poster, and I've seen that poster, and I always saw myself in that car, and it was always going to happen. And then one day I was driving along, and I saw a car in a really run-down car place, and I went in, and it said special. It was like whatever it was. It was still quite expensive, but it was a special. So I thought, I went to the bank. First I took it for a quick drive, and then I went to the bank, and I took out the money, and I came back to the dealer, and I gave him it in cash.
Well, how did it feel?
Well, it wasn't, I didn't even, I knew that it was, okay, it's interesting, it's an interesting car, I thought it's interesting. So I took it to the mechanic, and he said...
You took it to the mechanic after?
Yeah, Yeah, I didn't think about it. And he said,
You fucked out.
Yeah, no, but the mechanic said to me, so I went back and I said, can you take this back? Because it's going to take, it's dripping oil, it needs a new timing belt, it needs a new clutch, it's messed up, right? So I said, fix it. Just fix it. I'm not taking it back. How much will it cost? I think it was like, he gave me some $6,500 bill, and I said, just do it. Anyway, so I got this car running.
Yeah.
Nice, right? And the top down, I don't really think when I brought it that I'll be having the top down. But I always drive with the top down if it's not raining. And it's, even if it's just even if it's just a cloudy day, I'll have the top down. And then I'm driving along, and I suddenly realized the car that I always saw in the poster, I'm literally in it. It's silver. It's low to the ground, this low to the ground. It's an MX-5. I read an article in a magazine, and it said James Dean's Porsche, the MX-5 makes the James Dean Porsche seem top heavy, right? So basically, the only car that they used to reference James Dean's, the weight and ratio and look at, was the car that I had. That was a car that they said, an MX-5 1999 edition makes the Porsche, James Dean Porsche, look heavy. And I thought to myself, I have manifested that car, silver car, same feeling of when you're driving it as James Dean would have got when he was driving that car, the wind blowing at me, low to the ground. I'm the lowest thing on the ground. Anytime you see me, everyone looks at my car, looks down at my car. I banged both wings, but I've not got it fixed. I don't care really. I should do, but I will get it probably sprayed and the thing. But the fact is, I have the same experience that car in that poster would give you. Yeah. And it's very fast in the mid gears.
Sometimes it's not really about like the car itself. It's more about the experience it's giving you, you know?
The same experience.
When I moved into my house, it wasn't the dream house I imagined.
Yeah.
And I was like, just, going again in the matrix. I was like, oh, I'll work here, I'll do more hours here, I'll create this, and then I'll finally have enough to go get the house I want and finally experience the experience I want.
It's amazing.
But then I was sitting down in my house now, and I was just sitting there, and I was just breathing really deeply, and I was like, oh my God, I felt it. I'm already in my dream home.
Yeah.
And it really wasn't about the house, but it's about how I was feeling inside.
Yeah.
And I was like, my goodness, now I don't have to wait 10, 15, 20 years to get that home that I wanted. Why can't I just feel it now and allow the world, the universe to unfold that and bring it in?
It's kind of amazing. It's like, so I've got this apartment near the park, right? Really nice place. Me and the wife, we've got this really cool apartment that we brought. And we didn't really look at it too much when we brought it. We saw it in the other place. I said, do you think we should have looked at it more? And I'm going, you know what? Maybe I should have gone for one with city views, right? Instead we've gone the back there and the front, and then we're on by with 2 minutes on the park, King's Park. And then I'd been in there about a day or 2 days, and it was nighttime. I went out on the veranda, on the balcony, looking at the back of the buildings, at the back, because I face back, And then I walked to the right, and I looked up, and there was the city.
Oh, how good.
The city tower, the Rio Tinto. I could see all the city, and I think, wow, I do have city views. I just had to look for it. I didn't know I had city views. And I said to the wife, hey, we got city views. If you stand here on the balcony, look, there's the city. She goes, oh my goodness, you did get city views.
That's crazy.
It's crazy, right?
I got a question for you. A question within a question. Do you think that city view was always there? So back to one of our first conversations, we're talking about, you know, when you close the book, are the words there?
Yeah.
Or not? Do you think that city view was always there, or because you wanted it so bad, you moved yourself into a reality parallel?
I think that's what
created it?
happened. I think I might have gone for another apartment on a lower floor that wouldn't have allowed me that city view or something, or maybe it would be on the right-hand side of the building. I don't know, but those city views were there, and I didn't know. But I thought, and I was thinking, only if we had city views.
That's crazy. Sometimes the gold can be right in front of you,
Yeah.
and you just won't know.
Another one I manifesto just recently is, I wrote a book which is going to become a TV series, and I'm so obsessed with the TV series. Then I was driving one day, and all of a sudden I had this idea just hit me, bam, you know, and I thought, wow, I could make the movie. And then I'm like,
Where did the idea come from?
above, from somewhere else. It was talking to me. Somebody was coming to me. A good example of that is, can I recite a poem for you?
Go for it, man.
So this poem would be, let me think who I can do a poem about. Let's make it, I've got poems about lots of people. There's one about Muhammad Ali, there's one about Janis Joplin. I'll do the Janis Joplin because if I go swirling, twirling, tatty flares, swirling, twirling, tatty flare, swirling, twirling, tatty hair, wide flares, drills its way emotionally, uncontrollably to the ground. Mascara and salt water cover her face. Man, I am drowning. Baby, this is a celebration. Senator, it's just a drug inhalation. Minding confusion. Christ, save the children. Just experimentation. Turn to face a nation. A million eyes are gazing at a child lost in isolation as a swirling, twirling, tatty hair, wide flares, drills its way emotionally, uncontrollably to the ground. As the winds blow across the decades, it was just a Janis. Dropping, dropping, dropping to her knees, don't freeze out. And that poem's about Janis Joplin. Okay, how do I write a poem and feel what that person would have been feeling? Another would be, let me think, I'm trying to think of a quick one. Blood slithered down the drain, washed away by the rain, rat-tat-tat-tat. Meyer Lansky's on an attack. Administration's the name of the game, moving people around without a sound. Cheese slice cuts the throat, so precise. Meyer drops the robe as he soaks as a rat-tat-tat-tat on the far side of the town. So I wrote this whole poem on Meyer Lansky. They wrote that whole poem on Janis Joplin, or I'd go. Under African stars, burning heat, to fight in the jungle, no place of escape where warriors roam. Zaire talk, no need for points in the jungle. The hunter becomes the hunted under African stars. Fighters step through the rope, one fighter, one thinker, magic in the jungle. Angelo screams, get the hell off the rope. Don't worry, man, I'm coming off the rope to dope. Here I go, watch me float under African stars. Combinations of new dimensions thrown with bad intentions by a poet, a dreamer, a believer, a speaker man, and slip right off the rope to dope. And as the eclipse of the sun is total, a man on a mission alone in Zaire becomes himself and becomes a winner, and not no slave name like Cassius Clay, but oh yo, Mohammad Ali. One day I was walking along, and I was at LAX airport in Los Angeles, and I had a job at the time delivering flowers, I think, or balloons. Flowers. I did a delivery to LAX airport to some convention. And ever since I was a little kid, Cassius Clay was my idol, Muhammad, who became Muhammad Ali. And even when I was that big, there's a Jewish festival called Purim, where you dress up. It's cool. And I don't understand because I'm very conservative, I don't understand the true understanding of what it's all about. But yeah, dress up, all the kids dress up, you know. All religions have their little dress up things and games they play, or Hanukkah, or Christmas, or whatever. So I always had, so I dressed as Mohammad, as Cassius Clay. I was like 4 years old. He'd just beaten Sonny Liston. He was the king of the world. I had little boxing gloves on and a sash and a crown with press cuttings on my thing. Come forward 30 odd, 40 years or whatever. So I'm walking along at LAX airport and Muhammad Ali just starts walking towards me.
What actual?
Yeah, Muhammad Ali is walking towards it, and it was the night Mike Tyson lost. It was 1990, the night Mike Tyson lost his title to Buster Douglas, and Ali walked, and I touched his arm, like here, right, and it was kind of like you could feel the wideness of the thing, but it was a lot softer than it used to be, and he gave me a little writing of a Muslim prayer card or a pamphlet on Islam. And so I took that and he signed it, you know.
Do you still have it?
Yeah, it's somewhere. I'm not too sure exactly where it is.
That'd be worth a bit.
It's in, as George Carlin says, it's in my stuff.
Okay.
So I've got stuff all over the world. So it's some of my stuff, whether it be in Manchester in the lockup or whether it is somewhere.
And then?
The fact is, you talk about manifestation. First of all, Muhammad Ali I was always going to touch Muhammad Ali's arm, and I said to him, why did Tyson lose last night? And you know what Ali said? He said he forgot to dance. He forgot. I said, why did he lose last night? He forgot to dance. He said, well, he just whispered to me. He said, he didn't dance. He didn't dance. You know, he didn't dance. I can't remember how it sounded. Didn't dance. Didn't dance. I mean, didn't dance. And I was like, I didn't dance. And I always fucking didn't dance. Always fucking blinds on my mind. But Ali telling me he didn't dance. And I'm like, I did it. I was supposed to meet Muhammad Ali. And I was supposed to write this huge poem on Muhammad Ali. That thing I just read you is a tiny bit of the big poem, right? It's huge. Janis Joplin, she came to me through the thing. Meyer Lansky, the gangster, came to me down thing. I have just written a movie as I wrote a book, and that book is now a movie. Now that book is going to become a TV series. I wrote the thing, but I'm writing a movie. The movie just hit me like a bolt of lightning. All those poems that I have written about famous people, and there's more of them. I just can't think of, and there's more. There's a lot. I have a lot of poems on people. I never wrote them. They come to me through a higher power. I don't know how I write them, because I was never a great student. I'm not a great intellect. But for some reason, I write these poems down about people because they come to me straight through me. And
your channel.
Yeah, I channel them. How do you channel them?
How do you connect to this source, this intelligence? Do you know what I mean? Like, how do you? Obviously, for some.
Carole King said, you know Carole King, she wrote Tapestry.
Well, number one is we have to understand the scope of what's really going on.
Yeah, it's huge, man.
Your thoughts are literally creating events.
Yeah.
That's fucking huge.
Yeah, I know, right? You can't. How the fuck did that happen?
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that makes this whole game just so much more funner.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
We're not those limited beings that we've been told. We're not that, weak, powerless individual that we've been told. Rather, we're creators of our fucking reality.
Yeah.
In a way, we could see ourselves as gods because we're affecting reality in its own right.
Yeah.
How do you connect?
I think that what you talk about, manifestation of an idea or thing, and it comes to you. You know what I think? What's interesting? I think the older you get, the wiser you get. It takes time. For instance, you don't just go, like in The Secret when they say, and I never really, apart from seeing the movie, been into that movie so much, but all of a sudden I do believe in manifestation because it's happening to me all the time. Not once, not twice in last 2 years. Like, things are manifesting themselves to me. And
What are you manifesting next?
a movie.
This movie?
Yeah, huge. And you know what? It's almost like, I didn't know it, man. It's just like all these things that seem to happen don't just happen slowly, fast. They come slowly, you know, like a wine that has to mature. If you think about, oh, I want $1 million and I want to win the lottery tomorrow, you're not going to do it. You're not going to. It takes time. What happens is you've got to have the thought. It's got to be on your vision board in your mind. You could write it down, I guess. People write vision boards down. But then you've got to forget about it. Because if you think about it too much, it isn't going to manifest itself. It's going to manifest itself without you thinking about it. And especially if you have good thoughts about it. I think good thoughts are better than bad thoughts.
Oh yeah, especially with positive emotions too. Like feeling like you already have it.
I think comedians have a manifestation of an idea, and it's very quick because they can write a joke in the morning, go on stage at night, you've been there, you tell a joke and you get a laugh.
Yeah.
And you know, how the heck did you make all those people laugh? You know, and how can some people make people? There's some people can make people laugh more than you can, or I can, or they can, or he can, or it's a gift, but it's not. I'll tell you what it is. It's a manifestation of an idea that comes through you, that goes out to the audience, and you have been given that idea because you've manifested that idea, and you wanted to have the funniest bit of comedy that the world had ever heard, or you want to have the best poem that no one's ever heard a poem like that. You just write it down and you just put it out, and it happens. But it doesn't happen overnight. It has to come to you. It's there. It's going to come up to you like Allen Ginsberg. How did you write How? I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness, running hysterical naked through the Negro streets of dawn, looking for an angry fix, sitting on tenement roofs, contemplating jazz, or whatever. How the heck did Allen Ginsberg write that and write How? Did he? Because he couldn't have just thought about, he couldn't just sit down and go, I saw the best minds of my generation destroyed by madness. No. Yeah. I think it manifested itself to him because he lived a life, and he was moving through places and the things, and one day he was going to sit down and write one of the greatest poems of the 20th century. How's that possible? Well, it's possible. You can do it. I can do it. And Joe Bloggs can do it, you know.
They're doing it now.
Yeah, we're doing it now. We're doing it all the time. And so what's interesting is that you are capable of producing that fantastic story, that fantastic piece of comedy, inventing something, whatever it is, but it doesn't happen overnight. It comes to you, and you have no control over it coming to you, but it will come to you. So you can manifest, and you say, well, you can manifest the bad as much as you can manifest the good. If you put it out there in the world, then I suggest that people should just have good thoughts.
That brings us to the last question.
Wow.
It ties
question
into
4. And you want to know, I've got this thing going for you, by the way. There you go.
Cool. Question 4.
It's a timer, folks.
Is about, so you see, we talked in the beginning about, if you wanted to create the human, you'd create the human better. And we talked about all the wars going on. We talked about all the natural disasters, all the viruses and stuff. Do you think the way that the world has showed itself to us is a manifestation of the collective psyche?
Okay, so rephrase that for me.
So the way that the world is right now,
Yeah.
all the wars, all the destruction,
Yeah.
all the killing, there's also a lot of good things. But
Yeah.
do you think all that dark stuff is also a manifestation of the collective psyche? So, right now you're creating all your content, all your
Yeah.
poems, you're doing that at an individual level.
Yeah.
But maybe on a collective level, are we creating this world right now?
We've talked about something before we did the podcast, and we're saying that the world is very resilient. We've had every disease known to man that we know and we survived it. We've had every single war known to man, and we've survived it. It seems to survive.
We're survivors.
We're survivors. The earth is survivors. It reinvents itself. Now, why is there so much bad in the world? Why is there so many evil things happening in the world? Why was there Adolf Hitler? Why is Putin invading Ukraine and destroying buildings and killing people? Why is the Israeli-Palestinian conflict? Why are Pakistan and India always going head to head? Why in Belfast is it the Protestants versus the Catholics? Why is all this stuff happening? Why? So on this big picture, there are so many people that think of good things and they're manifesting good things, but there are other people that are manifesting dark things, and there's an entire world. They're fighting each other like electrons, you know, like ooh, and they're pushing out, right? So
It's like Star Wars.
yeah. So yes, it's exactly like Star Wars. You know, welcome to the dark side.
Yeah.
And the good side is the dark side's fine. Yeah, it's totally Star Wars. And I think that on the big picture, if somebody says, oh, I want to invade this country and that country and that country, and I want to dominate that side of the world, you know, then they're going to have dark thoughts normally to do that. They can't have great thoughts. It's about domination. So you've got to think that on a big picture, that it's two forces working against each other. We survive, but this utopia, right, of a world of utopia. No one has jealousy, no one has hate, no one has hunger, no one has war, you know. That
You turn that on.
will we ever, here you go, will we ever have that? Well, you know, it's all in the same manifestation thing. It's all in, we can't there's too many thoughts happening for us to just bring it all together. There's a conflict. What do you think?
I think, yeah, you're right. I see your point. There's a lot going on. But very simply, humanity is sort of stuck in this idea where we aren't recognizing these emotions of envy, jealousy, fear, and hatred within ourselves.
Yeah.
And when we don't recognize it, they operate in our unconscious and they control us.
Yeah.
Because what we don't know controls us, right?
Yeah.
So once we recognize it, that holy shit, I have the capacity to feel jealousy. Whoa, I've got the capacity to feel anger, hatred, fear. I got the capacity to feel domination. And we start to build a relationship with that part of ourselves that feels that way.
Yeah.
We have more of a chance to get it in grips. And when we can get it on grips, then we can use it for beneficial purposes. So now, rather than dominating by controlling a whole country, you dominate in, for example, being the best cleaner for the oceans.
Yeah.
Right? So it's being able to understand these energies and being able to channel them in the right direction. But as parents, you know, our parents always taught us, you shouldn't feel jealousy towards your brothers, you shouldn't feel envy towards this. No, you're natural. It's going to come up. Understand what it is and let it pass.
Yeah, right.
It's like an energy. Don't block it. The second you say, oh, it's bad, you start blocking it, blocking it, and eventually, like a blocked drain pipe, this thing's going to burst.
It's like, how about you can go, I really don't like that person, I can't stand that person's doing this, that person's doing that, and then you talk to that person, you go, that person isn't so bad after all.
Yeah.
In fact, we're drinking coffee, you know? How could that be? You know, how could that be? How could a Jewish guy and a Muslim guy who are meant to be at war and meant to be things sit down and have coffee and play chess or backgammon and not give a damn about war and about what they're told and who they are? Because you go, wow, that person's really not that bad. You know? How could a German soldier talk to a Jewish guy in a concentration camp and still have a meaningful conversation with him because he wasn't a Nazi, he was just a German soldier who has a family at home and kids, and he probably doesn't like the government and that thing, and he was able to talk to this man who also has children and kids, and like, that guy isn't so bad, and that guy isn't so bad.
I wonder if
there's this greater power that's always trying to, like, we go back, he's trying to pull us and tell us, and you know, somebody's going to assassinate John F. Kennedy. You know, it's like, right, some bad person, you know, and this guy is trying to do good, and boom, gets assassinated, or that Japanese prime minister, boom, he gets assassinated, or John Lennon, boom, he's saying this good stuff and he gets assassinated. Why, you know, when we really can get along, everybody can get along, you know, like I say, you know, it's like your biggest enemy can be today your greatest friend. Because until you sit down and talk, we go and break down that whole political thing, and the whole jealousy thing, and that whole anger thing, and that whole, he's better than me, why have I got that and he has got that? Why? I don't understand it. Why is that happening? And until you sit and talk to somebody, it's a big, you know, if you can talk to your enemy, sit down with your enemy and think, wow, my enemy really wasn't my enemy.
My best friend.
My enemy was me.
Yeah. That's it.
I was my enemy. The enemy was in me. I remember many years ago, I was in London, and I was renting a room, right? Not renting, it was like a bedsit, like it's a bedsit on the Edgware Road above a kebab shop. I was living there, right? And there was this guy in the next room, and I was practicing my poetry in the room, right? And I was doing this poem and that poem and that poem, whatever. And all of a sudden there's a knock on the door, my door. And he goes, hi, I know all your poems, I've been listening to them, I'm gonna steal them, right? I go, be my guest, go ahead, steal them. And I slammed the door in his face. I was a son of a bitch, right?
It's a prick move.
It was a prick move by this guy, right?
Where was he from?
He was from Blackpool in England. And we were in London, and he had the room next to me, and we shared there was like these bed sits. So there was like 5 of them, 5 or 6 on the floor. There was like 3 floors. And the next, and then I saw him, and I passed him in the corridor and stuff like that. And
Was he joking though, or was he serious?
I don't know if he was serious or whether he was joking, but it wasn't a good way to start a friendship, right? I slammed the door in his face, but interestingly, this guy became my best friend in London. For some reason, he had his door open, and there was some music on a guitar coming out of there, and I walked in, and I smoked a joint, and he smoked a joint, and we found out that his father owns a bar in Blackpool and in Manchester, and they booked me to go on stage, and I performed my poetry in the bars in Blackpool and Manchester.
Did you ever ask him, like, were you joking or were you serious?
I never really asked him.
Oh,
but I started off by slamming the door in the guy's face, and he told me that he was going to steal my material, and we ended up being really, really great mates, and we still are to this day. We are, and now he owns bars and clubs in England,
Right.
and he wants me to perform in his clubs in England.
Fuck yeah.
Again now.
That's
but it started out with,
You just never know who
yeah,
who.
we were both drifters.
Yeah.
And we drifted into this apartment, this place, and started off on the wrong way. But how many people is what I say, if you met on the wrong foot, and then you become, and you've got to start low and go high, you see, sometimes. You
gotta
go,
give people
how
a
can you be my best friend and now you're my worst enemy?
You gotta-
But it can work the other way around. How come you're my worst enemy and now you're my best friend?
You got to give people a chance. You got to give them,
Yeah.
even if they screw up once or twice. Like there is, I believe, every person has a beautiful heart, and
Yeah.
it's just getting to it. Sometimes, like people can do
Yeah.
things out of fear.
Yeah.
And it's just knowing how that psychology works. Some people just want to push you out because they're scared to open up, and they're the best type of people. Like they'll take their life for you.
Yeah.
They'll give you everything, and like they'll support you. I sound pretty selfish. Like they give you everything, support you and shit. But you know what I mean? Like,
I do find that one of the things I do find most interesting is that you can start off as best friends and end up really disliking each other, and you can start off disliking each other and end up best friends. You never know.
you know what I found weird?
which way the wind blows.
Yeah. In high school, I found weird was there was always, like, for example, there was two alpha males, right? And they would have issues with each other. They would just hate each other. And until or unless they fight,
Yeah.
they wouldn't become friends. Once they have a full-blown fight, punches to the face, next thing you know, they're holding each other like this.
Yeah, and
they're
you know,
best friends.
and
Like,
never more so than when you watch a boxing match.
yeah.
How about they bang the hell out of each other for 15 rounds, and at the end of it, they embrace because they've taken each other to as far as they can take them.
Yeah.
It's like Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. How could guys beat themselves close to death for 15 rounds? The Thriller in Manila, they were close. Ali said it was the closest thing to death he'd ever felt. And he goes, and Joe Frazier was finished. Yet at the end of it, they were able to embrace. How's that possible?
I think it's respect.
Total respect.
You just get respect for the other person.
Yeah, you can only take somebody to the limits so far.
Yeah. Because like, hey, this person has the ability to protect themselves. And again, coming back to that shadow side of us where we have envy, jealousy, fear, and greed, that part wants to dominate, and that part stays at bay when the other party can bite back.
Yeah.
The other party can protect itself. And then it allows your more higher frequency nature to come out.
You can have two people screaming at each other, a man and a wife, for instance. I know about that. And they could be screaming at each other and, until there's nothing left to scream about. Yeah. And you're like, whew, you know what I mean? There's nothing left. Yeah, it happens to two guys in the street. And eventually they wear themselves out. I think that's what happens to boxers. They can only punch each other for so long, and at the end of it, there's no more punching to do. You know what I mean? You're punched out. You punched yourself out.
Coming back to the start, we are pretty primitive, eh?
Very primitive. The human being is very primitive, but very resilient.
Monkeys with suits.
Yeah, we're very resilient.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, look, that
was a fantastic, thanks for having me here.
Yeah, I mean,
it's been amazing.
It's awesome to have you on and you sharing your life experience and
Sure.
wisdom, especially when it comes to manifestation.
Yeah, well, we talked for what, an hour and 10, an hour and 15. We really could have split for 5 hours if you really think about it, but you got really tired. You could have kept going for infinity, but everything's got a shelf life of like an hour now.
And there's always round two.
There's always round two. I'm always up for round two.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, like and subscribe. And click the notification button so you get notified when we put up new content. And I will leave a description and information for all of where you can find Belowsky's books and all of his work.
Yeah,
if you want to reach out to him, his social medias, everything will be on the channel. So thank you very much.
Peace. Take care.